Thank you. And finally, a special guest, the esteemed chairman of the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Protection, Representative Garbarino. I have to ask unanimous consent for the gentleman to participate and ask questions at this hearing. Unanimous consent. Ominous dominus. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member, for allowing me to visit today as a special guest. And I look forward to continuing to work with you all on building resilience to our CCP cyber threat. First, Director Ray, I'd like to say I took an international trip with some other colleagues, and we met with some of your employees over, your men and women in some other countries, and they are doing a phenomenal job, especially on the cyber threat level. So I'm saying great job with that. Director Easterly, it's good to see you. I wanted to ask you a question. The intelligence community has been warning for years that China has the ability to launch cyber attacks to disrupt U.S. critical infrastructure. In response to the persistence of this threat, I understand CISA has hired a new associate director to lead China operations. Can you please provide an update on the work of what's been completed over the last 6 months, and what do you have for the remainder? What plans for the remainder of the year?
Great, thanks so much. Great to see you, Chairman. Early last year, we decided to stand up a whole element under the Associate Director for China Operations, and so we hired a terrific subject matter expert, Andrew Scott, to lead that effort, really a cross-agency effort, to ensure we had a deep understanding of the threat to critical infrastructure and that we could work effectively with our partners across the interagency at the state and local level, and of course with industry, to be able to build the security and the resilience that we need to defend the nation from these threats. Since that period of time, we, of course, as we've been talking about in this hearing, we have affirmatively found and eradicated Chinese intrusions in our critical infrastructure, a whole variety of sectors that we believe are being used to pre-position and prepare for destructive cyber attacks. So we have many lines of effort. One is about evicting cyber actors. One is about providing our free services to all of our stakeholders across the country so they have the vulnerability capabilities to identify and drive remediation of these vulnerabilities and exploits taken advantage of by the Chinese cyber actors. And then, as we've been talking about here, really catalyzing that operational collaboration, those public-private partnerships, because between government and the intelligence community, we really need industry to help build that mosaic so we have a deep understanding of the threat so that we can together reduce risk to the American people.
Is the JCDC, you talk about those collaborations, the JCDC, Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative, what value is that adding to your China operations?
Yeah, this was, of course, the great innovation brought to us by the Cyberspace Solarium Commission. Started out as the JICPO. We turned it into the JCDC because I like rock and roll. But we've had that stood up for over 2.5 years now. We went from 10 companies that we're working with to over 200. And it really has been the platform that we've used to catalyze that operational collaboration, which is rooted in 3 fundamental things. A recognition that a threat to one business could be a threat to many. Why letting FBI and CISA know about a cyber threat incident is so critical. Second, it's really the reciprocal responsibilities of government and industry to recognize that we have to share information in real time. That has to be transparent. The government has to add value. The government has to be responsible in terms of how we protect data. And then finally, what the JCDC offers is a scalable way for us to share information, not just with the private sector, but very important partners across the government, like the National Security Agency Cyber Collaboration Cell and FBI's NCI JTF. So it really does help to put operational collaboration across the cyber ecosystem on steroids. And again, we're very grateful to the Congress for helping to fund it and authorize it, and to the Cyberspace Solarium Commission for coming up with that great idea.
Thank you, Director. Director Coker, congratulations on the new position. I wanted to, in your opening testimony, you mentioned administration's focusing on harmonizing cyber regulation in furtherance of the National Cyber Strategy. As you understand, the SEC recently finalized a cyber incident rule that goes what I believe is against their SIA, and so does the Department of Homeland Security. And many sectors have said that with this new rule, their cyber employees are going to be spending half their time on compliance instead of facing the threats from CCP cyber threats. As we pursue a CRA this week, the Senate might pass it, and we're going to try to pass it in the House. What is the administration doing to harmonize between agencies and departments?
And thank you for your kind words and for raising this important topic to us. Part of the national cybersecurity strategy has been to do regulatory harmonization. And the point of that regulatory harmonization is to reduce the burden of compliance. And the way we're going about that, we have issued a request for information and received more than 80 responses from the private sector and public sector. Right now, we are going through the process of better understanding those, again, with the goal of reducing the burden of compliance. So that's our goal right there. We understand that.
I appreciate that. I'm out of time, so, but someone should tell the SEC that, though, okay?